Hi, I'm Tamara Kelly from mooglyblog.com, and in this video, I'm going to be demonstrating how to crochet the Olivewood Hat, which is a free pattern you'll find on mooglyblog.com. This pattern is perfect for wearing, gifting, and donating to charity like Warm Up America. Let's get started. So here we have the Olivewood hat as well as a matching scarf and mittens, all of which are free patterns on mooglyblog.com. To make the hat, I used a USJ 6mm crochet hook. This one is by Furls. This hat pattern includes two sizes. For the small adult, which fits up to a 22-inch head, you'll need 180 yards. For the larger size, which fits heads over 22 inches, you'll need 195 yards. Both of these sizes mean this is a one-skein pattern. Let's go ahead and start crocheting. The Olivewood hat is actually crocheted top down, which means we're working this direction. We start by working some simple flat circles. Then, as we come down the sides, we add this beautiful bit of Trinity stitch texture. Then we finish up with this beautiful post-stitch ribbed brim for extra stretch and great fit. Let's go ahead and take our first stitches together. So both sizes of this hat start exactly the same. We're going to begin with a magic circle. There are lots of ways to make one, but here's how I like to do it. I'm going to take the end of my yarn and go over my non-hook forefinger twice, just like so. Then I'm going to use the rest of those fingers to sort of hold on to both of those ends and keep them nice and secure. Then I will use my hook to go under both of those loops and pull the loop that's furthest back just a little bit forward. I'll yarn over with the working yarn, like so, and that starts to lock my magic circle together. From there, we're going to want to work a chainless starting double crochet. So I'm going to do that while the ring's still on my finger, just to hold it a little extra stable. So I'm going to pull my loop up to the height of a double crochet, secure the top of the loop on the hook with my forefinger, yarn over with the loop itself, insert my hook into the ring, yarn over and pull that loop up and through the ring. Now I'm going to yarn over and pull that loop through that loop I pulled up and behind the yarn over. It's not till now that I release the top of that loop so that I can yarn over and pull through to finish the stitch. So this is what I like to do instead of a chain 3. If you prefer, you can simply chain 3 and count that as your first double crochet. Or if you're a fan of the stacked single crochet method, you can use that instead. The main thing is to get a double crochet in there in whatever form you like to start a row or a round of double crochet. I'll put my hook back in the loop, and now we need to add 11 more double crochets to the ring. So I'm going to yarn over, and when I go into the ring, I want to make sure that I go into the ring and that I make sure this tail end of the yarn is also on top of my hook and enclosed in every one of these stitches. This is going to make sure that when we get to the end of this round, we can pull down on that tail and close up that center hole. That's the magic. So as you can see, I'm just working double crochets, going into that ring every time, making sure that I catch that tail end. And I'll keep doing that until I have a total of 12 stitches. So now I have a total of 12 stitches. My starting chain or double crochet, however you want to do that, plus 11 more double crochets. Now what I'm going to do is pull on that tail end and hopefully, yep, just like that, our magic ring closes right up. I like to do that before I slip stitch, but you can slip stitch first if you'd like. Now, you'll notice I went ahead and put a stitch marker right in the top of that first stitch. When I'm working in joined rounds, I really like to put a stitch marker in both the first and last stitch of every round. And I do this so that I don't become confused by the slip stitch. If you've ever made anything sort of flat in the round like this, and you accidentally worked into the slip stitch, this will help prevent that. This way I'll always know which is the first and last stitch of my round. So now I can join with a slip stitch, and we're ready for round 2. For round 2, we are going to turn. That's right, this pattern is worked in turned rounds. Doing this allows the Trinity stitch to work up really beautifully. So to begin round 2, which is we're going to be working from the wrong side here, we work another double crochet substitute in the first stitch. And this is where having those stitch markers is going to be particularly helpful. With the turn, this really looks like it wants to be the first stitch, but again, that's the slip stitch. We know that our first stitch goes in the first marked stitch. So I'll pull up the loop to the height of a double crochet and make my double crochet substitute just as I did before, this time going into this marked stitch. Again, you can work whatever kind you prefer. And if you chain 3, you'll end up just skipping that stitch. So I will move my stitch marker up to the top of my double crochet substitute. And then I need to work a second double crochet right into that same stitch. And now we're ready to continue crocheting all the rest of the way around. We're going to work 2 double crochets into each stitch. So that should give us a total of 24 double crochets at the end of round 2. And this is what it should look like at the end of round 2. You can see our little tail hanging out right here in front. We know we're on the wrong side. And for round 3, we're going to turn and work back on the right side. We start again with our chainless starting double crochet or preferred double crochet substitute right in that first marked stitch. Again, if you haven't worked turnarounds before, or even if you have, I highly recommend using stitch markers in the first and last stitch. I've been crocheting and using this technique for many years, and I still prefer to use the stitch markers myself. It just makes it so much easier to keep track of where you are. There we go. So now, for round 3, we put 1 double crochet there in our first stitch, and then 2 double crochets in the stitch after that. If you're familiar with working flat circles, this all sounds probably pretty darn familiar. So our repeat is 1 double crochet in the next stitch, 2 double crochets in the stitch after that. 1 and 2. Let's do that one more time. 1 double crochet in the next stitch, 2 double crochets in the stitch after that. At the end of round 3, you should have a total of 36 stitches. And this is what it should look like at the end of round 3. Now we're ready for round 4. So I'm going to turn and work my starting stitch again. Each of these rounds starts pretty much the same until we get down to the Trinity stitches and then down to the brim. So once you've got that stitch made, we'll move our stitch marker right on up. Like so. There we go. And then we can look at our repeat. For round 4, we double crochet in the first stitch, then we double crochet in the stitch after that, and then 2 double crochets in the stitch after that. So 1, 1, 2. And that is our repeat all the way around for round 4. 1, 1, and then 2 in the same stitch. There we go. So keep working just like that all the way around, and at the end of round 4, you'll have a total of 48 stitches. And here's what it should look like at the end of round 4. So we'll turn and begin round 5. We're going to start by working our double crochet substitute into that first marked stitch and moving up our stitch marker. Then we look back to our instructions and see we double crochet in the next 2 stitches. So there's 1 and 2. Then 2 double crochets in the stitch after that. And that's our repeat for round 3. 1, 1, 1, 2. So let's do it together. 1, 1, 1, and 2. Right back in that same stitch for the second one. There we go. So just continue that repeat all the way around for round 5, and at the end of this round, you'll have a total of 60 stitches. So this is what your hat should look like after round 5. After round 5, if you're making the smaller size, meant to fit up to a 22-inch head, then it's time to move on to the sides, so you'll want to fast forward just a little bit. If you're making the larger size, we have just 2 more rounds to add. So let's walk through those just a little bit together. For round 6, again, we'll want to make sure to turn our work, and then we work our double crochet substitute in that first stitch, just as we've been doing before. Still want to continue to move our stitch markers on up. There we go. Then our repeat for round 6, and again, this is for the large size only. We double crochet in the next 3 stitches. And then we work 2 double crochets in the stitch after that. So for round 6, your repeat is 1, 1, 1, 1, 2. That's 4 ones and then 2 in the next. Work 1 double crochet in each of the next 4 stitches, then 2 double crochets in the stitch after that. Repeat that all the way around until you've got a total of 72 stitches. Then for round 7, which again is only for the large size, you'll work 1 round with double crochets in each stitch around without increasing any more. So now it is time to work the sides. This happens after round 5 for the small size and after round 7 for the large size. And we begin again counting our rounds in the pattern. So round 1, all sizes for the sides, we work on the wrong side. You can see our tail is hanging out right there. And we work our double crochet right in that first stitch, just as we've been doing all along. Then we simply double crochet in each stitch around. We're not going to increase any more. So if you're working the small size, you'll have a total of 60 stitches. And if you're working the larger size, you'll have a total of 72. So, as you may have noticed, I've made my swatch a little bit smaller for demo purposes. But after you've worked round 1 of the sides from the wrong side, it's time to turn and work from the right side for round 2. For round 2 of the sides, we're going to work as follows. We start with a chain 1, and then we're going to single crochet 3 together in the first 3 stitches. Remember, we want to begin with this first marked stitch. So I'm going to insert my hook in that stitch and move my stitch marker out of the way for the moment and pull up a loop. Then I go to the next stitch and pull up a loop. And finally, I go to the third stitch and pull up a loop. I now, as you can see, have 4 loops on my hook. So I'm going to yarn over and pull through all those loops, and that will be the first single crochet 3 together of the round and the first stitch of our round. So I'm going to go ahead and mark it with my stitch marker. Then we're ready to go back to our pattern, and next thing we do is chain 1. Now we begin the repeat that takes us all the way around the rest of this row. We work a single crochet 3 together in the previous and the next 2 stitches. So let's do that together. You can see right here, this is the last stitch that I worked into when making the previous stitch. So now I'm going to go back into that same stitch and pull up a loop. Then I go to the stitch after that and pull up a loop, and I go into the stitch after that and pull up a loop. Again, I have 4 loops on my hook. So I'm going to yarn over and pull through all 4 to finish the stitch. Then we can't forget to chain 1. Then we do it again. Go back in that same stitch that we finished the previous stitch in, the previous single crochet 3 together, I should say, and then pull up a loop from each of the next 2 stitches. As soon as we've got 4 loops on our hook, we know it's time to yarn over and pull through. Then chain 1 and do it again. Let's do that one more time together. Go into the same stitch that we finished the previous stitch in, and the next 2 stitches. We want a total of 4 loops on our hook. Yarn over and pull through and chain 1. Continue just like that all the way around, and I'll see you when we're ready to finish up round 2 of the sides. So now you can see I'm nearly at the end of round 2 of the sides. I have worked my single crochet 3 together, I've chained 1, and now I want you to look and see where I'm at. We have 1 stitch left for this round, and there is the top of the first stitch we made. To work our last single crochet 3 together, we're going to go back into that same stitch as the previous one. Now we'll go ahead and work into that last stitch. I'm going to move this stitch marker out of the way and set it aside. So it just looks like that next stitch right there. And now to finish this one, we want to find that space the first stitch was first worked into right there so that they all overlap just so. So now we can pull up our fourth loop from back here on that side and yarn over and pull through. And then don't forget to chain one before you make your slip stitch. Now, that chain one officially is our last stitch of the round. So I'll go ahead and mark that and then make my slip stitch right in the top of that first single crochet 3 together. So now you can see we're started to create some beautiful texture. Now, the next several rounds of this pattern, rounds 3 through 10 of the sides, are all the same. Let's go ahead and work the third one together. We're going to turn, and remember on wrong side rows now, when we're working the sides, we are on the inside of the hat. There's our tail, and we're going to do the Trinity stitch again. So we're going to start with our chain 1, and now we need to do the single crochet 3 together, working in the first chain space, stitch, and the chain space after that. So you can work into the chain space or you can choose to work into the chains themselves, whatever makes you happiest. So I am going to look for that first stitch marker right there. Remember we marked that last chain 1 space. I can go right in there and pull up my first loop, get the stitch marker out of the way. And then we just go right to the next stitch. I just follow the V's on the tops of the stitches right across and don't think too much about it. Pull up one loop from the next stitch, one loop from the next stitch. As soon as we've got 4, we know we can yarn over and pull through. That was our first one, so we want to put our stitch marker right in top there. And then we're going to want to go into the same stitch we finished the previous stitch in, and then pull up a loop from each of the next 2 stitches, like so. We've got 4 loops on our hook, so we yarn over and pull through, and chain 1. Go into the same stitch or space we finished the last stitch in, and then pull up a loop from each of the next 2 stitches or chain spaces. There we go. As soon as we've got 4, we know it's time to yarn over and pull through and chain 1 again. So we're going to continue working around just like we did the previous round, and we'll finish up the same way too, where that last one is in the previous stitch, that last marked stitch, and the same space we worked the first part of the first stitch of the round in. As I say, you'll continue working these rounds around for rounds 3 through 10. We're working from the top down, so here are those rounds of Trinity stitch. And you can see it makes this lovely band right here. This row count is the same no matter what size you're making. We created our extra circumference and length back when we were crocheting those extra 2 rounds up at the crown for the larger size. So work all those rounds of Trinity stitch, and then it's time to work the brim. So after round 10 of the Trinity stitch, you'll end up back on the right side. And now it's time to begin the brim by turning to the wrong side. For our first round here on the wrong side of the brim, we're simply going to chain 1 and half double crochet in each stitch around. So again, make sure you jump right over to that first marked stitch, or in this case, chain space, and go ahead and move your stitch marker on up, and then continue around with a half double crochet in each stitch and chain space all the way around. So after working a round of half double crochet here on the wrong side of the hat, then we're ready to turn again. And if you notice that your hat tends to turn towards the wrong side, no problem. You can just turn it to the right side out when it is done. So now we're ready for round 2 of the brim, which is again a very simple round. We're just going to chain 1 and work a round of single crochet in the back loop only. So let's take a quick look. I'm going to move over here where it's a little easier to see. We have 2 loops at the top of each stitch. The loop closest to us is the front loop. The loop farthest away is the back loop. It's always relative to us, the crocheter. So for this round, we're going to be working in the back loop only, which means we're going to insert our hook under just that back loop. We come in right in the middle of the stitch and go just under the back loop like that. We still work away from ourselves. We don't come from behind. We work our usual direction. So let's go ahead and come back here. I'll move my stitch marker out of the way for the first stitch here. And then we are going to go into that back loop only, like so. Then we can mark our new first stitch of this round and continue our way around back loop only, single crochet in each stitch. So here you can see what happens when we work in that back loop only. We get sort of a decorative ridge here on the right side or front of our work. And that part is purely decorative. So if you don't like working in the back loop only, you can work that round under both loops if you prefer. Of course, at the end, we want to slip stitch to our first stitch, and we do that under both of those top loops. The back loop only action was just happening down here. So now we're ready for round 3. We're going to turn, and this is our round working again from the wrong side. In this round, we're simply going to work a double crochet in each stitch around, setting ourselves up for the ribbed brim. So again, I'm going to work that double crochet substitute, whichever one you prefer. You can go ahead and put right in that first stitch, and then continue on around with a double crochet in each stitch. These are worked under both of those top 2 loops. And now I've worked that round of double crochet, so we're ready to move back to the right side of our hat. Round 4 of the brim and rounds 5 and 6 are all the same. We're going to continue to turn, but rounds 4 and 6 will land us on the right side of the hat, and then we'll be done. For each of these rounds, they're all worked the same. We start with a chain 1, and then we're going to front post double crochet around the first stitch. So again, we've got our marker in this stitch right here, so we know that's the one we're going to go around. We start with a yarn over, we go in on one side of this post of the stitch and bring our hook out on the other. We go around the back of the stitch, but we come from the front, and that's why it's called a front post stitch. To yarn over, we bring our yarn right across the front of this post, pull it up with our hook right around the post, and now we can finish our double crochet as usual. Yarn over and pull through 2, yarn over and pull through 2. Now I want to move that stitch marker on up to the top of this first stitch. Don't worry, we're going to take a few more together here. But after you make a front post stitch, in our next stitch, we want to make a back post double crochet. For the back post double crochet, we again start with a yarn over. Then we're going to bring our hook behind our fabric and come from behind, coming up on the side of the post and now going down on the other side. This part is a little bit trickier. We want to bring our yarn across so that we can yarn over and pull through, but I want you to very carefully pull that yarn through and give yourself a little bit of space here if possible. You'll notice how I'm grabbing the fabric of the hat here so that when I pull this through, I've got a little bit of space to go ahead and finish my double crochet. And we're going to repeat these 2 stitches all the way around. Front post double crochet in the next, which means we come in from the front and pop back up to the front. Finish it as usual, followed by a back post double crochet, which means we come from behind and go back to the back. Pull up our loop carefully here so that we can finish our double crochet. Let's do those one more time together. Front post double crochet means we come from the front around the post and we end up on the front. Back post double crochet, need to pull up a little bit more yarn here. Our back post double crochet, we come from the back and go to the back. Pull up our loop gently and carefully and then finish our double crochet. So finish those all the way around, front post, back post, front post, back post, all the way around working evenly. You'll do this for rounds 4, 5, and 6. When you work the subsequent rounds of post stitches, it's even easier because you'll have these nice big post stitches to go right around with your hook. And that's what that brim looks like when it's done. We just go back and forth working those post stitches around each other, and we get a great stretchy brim for our Olivewood hat. And that's how to crochet the Olivewood hat. You'll find this pattern as well as the matching scarf and mittens for free on mooglyblog.com. Thanks so much for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe.